The NFL 2021 season kicks off on Thursday, August 5th. And while some say I won't bet the preseason, but many NFL handicapping experts say there is more value betting the preseason than any other sport. This is one of the only times in sports betting that you can have a team and a coach trying to win versus a team and a coach that doesn't care. The NFL preseason is $249. You can save $70 by purchasing this package by kickoff of the Hall of Fame game August 5th. The entire NFL preseason for just $179. Yes, football is back.
Friday, July 30th. It's the last chance for me to do my Prez imitation with you, Rob Veno, because they return to normal next week. Normal is a relative term with Prez and Teddy, but I am Steve Merrill in for the Prez, and that is Rob Veno in for Teddy Covers. And this is still Wager Talk Today, and this is Friday, July 30th. As we head into the weekend, the last July show for Wager Talk Today. That means August starts next week, starts Sunday to be exact, and that means football is right around the corner. Rob Veno, less than a week now till NFL preseason, a week from yesterday. We still got the Olympics. We got plenty of baseball for several months. We even had the NBA draft last night. And boy, am I excited about today's show because we have Rick Kamla, NBA expert. You all hear him on SiriusXM. You've seen him on NBA TV over the years. And we're going to break down and recap the NBA draft. I know, Rob, you dig into it as much as anybody. You did a live show last night here on Wager Talk TV. Go back and watch it, by the way. You had some pretty good picks and predictions on that show. And we're also going to have Jeff Benson. We couldn't get him on yesterday. Had some tech difficulties. We have them worked out. I'm making the odds 99% that he is on today to talk about the Circa contest. $10 million combined, Rob. We might have to fly out to Vegas to sign up ourselves. And I've got some information, by the way, at the end of the show about a proxy service. For those of you that can go out there and sign up in person, once you do so, you do not need to be in Las Vegas the rest of the year. You can put the plays in every week through a reliable proxy service. We're going to have some information on that at the end of the show as well after the Jeff Benson interview. But first, real quick, before we get to Ralph Michaels, the human database, the walking database, we're going to have a little football talk. Real quick, Rob, anything in baseball jump out to you? We don't have a lot of baseball. You're going to have a big game breakdown here in a few minutes. But I wanted to get a little bit of baseball in because that's the actionable daily sport today. So anything you're looking at here heading into the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, what we found out yesterday, Steve, is anybody that's in contention, not named the San Francisco Giants, has been aggressive. We saw huge trades. Of course, the Scherzer, Trey Turner deal still being finalized as we speak, going to the LA Dodgers, but the Padres were active, the Mariners, the A's, the Astros. Over the course of the last few days, everybody, the White Sox, the Yankees, Joey Gallo, and Anthony Rizzo. So, yeah, everybody's making their push, and it continues on today. Trade deadline ends 4 Eastern time this afternoon. Still a lot of big names out there, still a lot of hot rumors floating around out there as we speak here at noontime East. So we'll see, Steve. But I tell you what, if you're betting baseball, go check those depth charts and readjust because there's a lot of readjusting to do here. And we're going to see some teams with a lot of different folks in their lineup and in their pitching staffs and in their bullpens over the course of the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, Rob, it's probably a basic question, but as a handicapper, I mean, do you just tread lightly here today and tomorrow until the end of the trade deadline? Is this kind of like before or after the NBA All-Star break that we talk about sometimes, or even the baseball All-Star break a couple weeks ago? I mean, are you going to just take a little bit more of a cautious approach here tonight and tomorrow?
I didn't today, Steve. In fact, I think I got more aggressive today.
Wow.
Believe it or not. But I think there have been openings created for us to just punch right through the wall and capitalize. So, yeah, in this instance, this particular trade deadline, I was more aggressive today. I still haven't gotten all my plays up at WagerTalk.com yet. Waiting on a couple more things, but I do have 2 up there already, including a 4% best bet. So, yeah, I think I'm going to be in action as much as ever tonight.
And I'll tell you what, we're going to have a lot of baseball talk tomorrow and Saturday. We don't have a show here on Wager Talk TV, but don't forget Rob Veno, myself, and Joe Ranieri live every Saturday at noon Eastern for 2 hours, 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Channel 204 Sports Grid Radio. We talk a lot of baseball on that Saturday show. Rob, a lot of people in the comments are saying we need more weekend shows at WagerTalk.com. Football's around the corner. We're going to have some content. I'm going to have my Fade the Public video, which I know will be fun each week in the NFL. But we do have great content, noon Eastern, 12 to 2 live every Saturday on SiriusXM Channel 204. Rob Veno, Joe Ranieri, and myself on props and parlays. And I want to just take, before we get to some basketball here with the NBA draft with Rick Kamla in a few minutes, I want to just take a big picture look at baseball. You and I won't get a chance to talk a lot here on WagerTalk Today in the following weeks, together at least. You mentioned the White Sox the other day as a futures play for you. So you got them winning the AL. You guys heard me a couple weeks ago here mention the Brewers as my long shot at 13-1 to win the NL, just because I think, and I agree with you with the White Sox, by the way, there's only 3 teams really right now that are definitely going to be in that divisional, locked in to win the division, I think. It's Milwaukee, the Chicago White Sox, and Houston. And that, of course, means you don't have to do the one-and-done wild card scenario. Dodgers, Giants, and Padres, 2 of those 3 teams have to be in a one-and-done scenario. So it's a tricky handicap. So you like White Sox there. What are you looking at in the NL, Rob? I'm leaning Brewers just for value because I think if they make the playoffs, which they will, 7-game lead in the division, that pitching staff's going to be as dangerous as any, even with the lack of offense.
And they continue to make offensive moves, Steve. I mean, Eduardo Escobar was one of the under-the-radar pickups that could really provide dividends. It seems like whoever they pick up provides dividends, right? Because Rowdy Tellez all of a sudden has added a potent bat to the Milwaukee lineup, even with Christian Yelich out. And I don't think they're done. There's a lot of reports today that maybe Luke Voit from the Yankees gets dealt, and Milwaukee's a possible destination, which would add another power bat to their lineup. They haven't done it with superstar names, but they've done it with effective lineup pieces, Stephen, like you mentioned. With that pitching staff, we saw Freddie Peralta last night once again, and he's the number 3 here. I mean, we often mention Burns and Woodruff, and a lot of times Freddie Peralta is ignored in that conversation. He shouldn't be. So they have 3 as good as anybody, and, of course, the back end of that bullpen. We don't have to say it again, but their setup to closer is fantastic. So, yeah, the Brewers, the Mets will become healthy, and they'll likely be in somewhat of the same situation that the Brewers are, a team that can pitch their way to a short series victory.
And I always say offense wins divisions, pitching wins championships in the playoffs. And you always hear defense wins championships, but keep in mind pitching is defense. And that's another way to look at it. Hey, Rob, I'm going to throw you a curveball since we're talking baseball.
Yeah.
Ralph Michaels is about to log in as we speak to talk some football. We have Rick Kamla talking NBA right after that. We have Jeff Benson talking Circa football contest. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to do your big game breakdown a couple minutes early. If that's good with you. So you're in the bullpen. You're warming up here. I got you warmed up with some baseball. I'm calling you in right now here. 20 seconds. We'll be right back. Big game breakdown, baseball style.
What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
Hey, everybody. It's time to take a look at the Major League Baseball big game breakdown for today. Again, not Teddy Covers style, but known Teddy a long time. I know what he looks for. So maybe I have something here that Teddy would have also presented here today. I'm going to take a look at the Boston-Tampa Bay game here, game 1 of a series in the hotly contested AL East between these two teams. Tampa Bay sitting atop of the wild card standings right now. Boston sitting atop the division. Start off real quick here with the starting pitching, which is where the line is always based. And I think maybe you get a slight advantage to Boston here. Martin Prez with a near 41% strikeout percentage on the season kind of offsets what he's really bad at, which is hard hit percentage. He's been getting hit pretty hard. Off the bat, exit velocities have been hard off of him. But he faces Josh Fleming, who only has a 23.6% strikeout rate. So there's a big advantage there for Martin Perez. And I think the other advantage comes in the lineups that they are facing. Tampa Bay. It's been a problem all season long versus left-handed pitching. They're the 3rd worst strikeout percentage team against left-handed pitching in Major League Baseball. Only 2 teams in the entire league strike out more against lefties than do the Tampa Bay Rays at 27.1%. Overall, they're number 27 in Major League Baseball versus lefties in OPS. They're 29th with a .225 batting average against lefties. So, the straight-up advantage, Perez against Fleming, is not huge. Fleming's a better ground ball pitcher. Fleming doesn't get hit as hard, a little bit softer contact, but Perez matches up good with the Rays left-handed lineup, and Fleming pitching to contact could be a disaster against the Red Sox because you allow them to make contact. And they're a good contact team to begin with. Only the third highest strikeout percentage in Major League Baseball versus lefties. They rank number 3. They don't strike out hardly at all. So I think the pitching matchup, slight edge, Boston. But here's where we get the huge advantage in this game, and that's when we get to the bullpens. I think after 5 innings in this game, when both starters are long gone, Boston probably becomes somewhere near a $2.50 to $3 favorite in this contest. Let's take a look at what's happened to the Tampa Bay bullpen here. They traded their closer, Diego Castillo, to Seattle yesterday. They placed their setup man, Peter Fairbanks, on the 10-day injured list yesterday with shoulder inflammation. Their 2 best arms, and right now they have 7 bullpen arms on the IL. This team is bankrupt in the bullpen. What's normally a strength for them is an extreme weakness at this point in time. They did acquire JT Chargois from Seattle in the Castillo trade. Question mark as to his availability here for this evening. But beyond Andrew Kittredge, there's not a proven arm in this bullpen. I think Boston takes huge advantage late in this game. It's why you want to play, at least I want to play, full game here rather than first 5, because Prez and Fleming, you could get caught in maybe a 3-3 tie after 5. But late innings, all Boston here. Boston's an underdog in this game. You can catch $1.20 with them. At least you could this morning, about an hour ago. So I think Boston in the opener of the series with Tampa Bay, a really good side here due to the late inning advantage that they'll have.
Yeah, and the Boston Red Sox are an interesting team to me, Rob, because we've talked a lot about that AL East. It's obviously action-packed. You kept coming into the season, White Sox and Yankees were the 3rd and 4th favorites overall after the Dodgers and Padres, who, by the way, aren't winning their division either. So the 4 preseason World Series favorites, only one of them right now is winning the division. But the Yankees, barely 3rd. The Blue Jays, a dangerous Blue Jays team, by the way, returns home tonight to Toronto for the rest of the season. Let's keep an eye on that. They're in 4th. But, yeah, Boston is still winning that division. Yet they're only plus 57 run differential. Tampa, meanwhile, plus 103 for the season. Yet the Red Sox and the Giants, both, they're legitimate division leaders right now in my eyes. These aren't phony teams. You know, we talked about the Seattle Mariners, negative 50-some runs for the season. That's a phony team. But both Boston and San Francisco legit as division leaders. And what's interesting about Boston, since they started checking for the sticky stuff about 5 weeks ago, the first couple weeks after that, in late June, early July, before the All-Star break, the Red Sox had the lowest bullpen ERA of all 30 teams right after they started checking. So the Boston bullpen is getting better as we speak also. Very interesting. Tampa and Boston, I think, are 2 dangerous teams looking forward. Big weekend series, as you mentioned. And Boston at an underdog price is something we haven't seen too much of recently. Guys, we're going to have Ralph Michaels hopefully in a little bit to talk some football. Rick Kamla is coming on momentarily to talk NBA draft. And we also have Jeff Benson from the Circa in Las Vegas to talk about the $10 million combined Pick 5 NFL contest and Eliminator contest. And it's going to be something. Let's prep a little NBA draft talk, though, Rob. I know you did a big show last night beforehand. I know you had some of your picks right as well. Big news, obviously, was pre-draft Russell Westbrook going to the Lakers. Just fill us in basically on the night in general. Give us a big recap before we get to Rick, and then we'll dig into some actual futures data for the NBA, some usable information.
Yeah, I think it went according to mock draft form, Steve, up until pick number 4, where the Raptors surprised many and skipped on Jalen Suggs, the star guard from Gonzaga, wound up taking Scotty Barnes. It kind of set off a domino effect, which was further amplified in the top 10 when the Oklahoma City Thunder took Josh Giddey, a young 18-year-old point guard from Australia, a kid who is described as a walking triple-double. Of course, Oklahoma City, with their youth movement, has nothing but time to go ahead and draft this way and allow players to develop. But Giddey has overseas experience so far, so we'll see what that does here. You know, the Houston Rockets had 4 picks. The Pistons made it official when they took Cade Cunningham. There are teams that help themselves here, and we'll let Rick go ahead and give us his insight as to who he thinks helped themselves the most and who maybe had damaged themselves the most. I think one other fascinating thing here, big name-wise, Steve, that happened last night was the absolute refusal of teams to listen to the Philadelphia 76ers on Ben Simmons. The demand, the asking price is so monstrous and preposterous at this point in time that there was a report that Golden State hung up the phone when they were asked in return to give up Andrew Wiggins and 4 first-round draft picks. There were some reports that had their rookie center James Wiseman going in the deal, but Golden State wasn't going for that. So I don't know what's going to happen here with this Ben Simmons thing. Reports are that the relationship between the Sixers and Ben Simmons is fractured so badly that a move has to be made here, but they wanted to have it done before the draft. It wasn't done before the draft. And in my estimation, I think Philadelphia is going to sit with Ben Simmons. So we'll see what happens. Oh, all right. Yeah, it's a little technical problem there, but I'll go through this NBA draft a little bit more. The Ben Simmons thing aside, Bradley Beal's name was tossed out there, but now Bradley Beal has told the Wizards that he wants to stay. Good news for the Wizards. Damian Lillard apparently will stay in Portland. That helps them as well. If I go back to the draft real quick here with a couple of more surprises, the San Antonio Spurs inside the lottery at number 12 picked Alabama guard Josh Primo, which stunned many at that particular spot in the draft. He wasn't expected to go until into the 20s. I think a lot of people didn't think Golden State would make 2 picks, 7 and 14, but they did. Jonathan Kuminga, somewhat of an enigma here. Very, very good athlete. Not a very, very good shooter at this point in time, but again, young, raw talent. Warriors take him at 7. They come back at 14 with Moses Moody, a very good shooter, very good wing, which probably fits into Golden State rather well. Other teams here that were active. I think, one more surprise here real quick. Were the Atlanta Hawks drafting Jalen Johnson when they did out of Duke. I think most thought he would go further down, maybe between 24 and 28. He's picked at number 20. And so Atlanta gets Jalen Johnson, the star from Duke, who actually walked out on the season from Duke. So we'll see what happens there. If there's an attitude problem or not, we're not sure. But it looked like Jalen Johnson was really happy to become an Atlanta Hawk. And one of my favorites locally here, the kid's from Delaware. He's got a great backstory to how he got to where he is. But Nashawn Highland, nicknamed Bones Highland from VCU, skipped into the first round here and actually cashed the ticket for me last night because his over-under was 28th in the draft. I played under. He did go earlier than 28th. Fantastic talent. Should help quite a bit. The Denver Nuggets took him because Jamal Murray likely out for, if not the entire season, the greater portion of the season next year. So they need a little bit of guard help. We saw what their guard core looked like last season in the playoffs. It was just decimated. So there's some highlights from the NBA draft, stuff that I took away. And I think we're going to turn it over now to football. I think we got Ralph Michaels in here, so we get Steve back and we can get to some college football and football.
Yeah, I ran down the street while you were talking, Rob, and I found Ralph. He was out on the corner giving the WagerTalk Today guides away. He was giving all the football reports away for free. And I was like, stop it. Get on this show. Don't give too much away for free. You've been doing that all summer. But, hey, Ralph, great to have you. We're going to get back to a little NBA draft talk. But before we do so, I wanted to get a little bit of futures talk here in football because we've got Jeff Benson coming on later in the show from the Circa to talk about the $10 million combined for the Pick 5 NFL contest and also the Survivor contest. So, Ralph, I'll throw it to you. The floor is yours, my man. Where do you want to start?
Hey, guys, I appreciate it. First, I want to mention another free guide at WagerTalk. Let me mention 2 guides first that have been up at Gold Sheet, but it's still worth your time to go and download. No registration needed, no email needed. You just go to goldsheet.com. You'll see on the front page, there's a college football guide and an NFL guide. Both have returning starters, a slew of information. Basically, the information I take to prep for the season, I put into the guide. And one thing I listed at WagerTalk just yesterday was lines. I'm an old school guy. I like taking my line sheet, printing it off, marking lines down, marking line changes, putting some notes on the games. But if you're looking for the NFL Hall of Fame game schedule, week 0, NFL preseason, week 1, lines and totals, college football, week 0, college football lines, week 1, NFL sides and totals, week 1 of the regular season. All 5 of those weeks are in one easy PDF. You just go to my homepage at WagerTalk, WagerTalk.buzz/RM.
And Ralph, we're going to have more preseason information in the coming weeks. Obviously, we're 6 days away from the Hall of Fame game, but then there's another week till we have the full slate, I believe. So we're getting close. Let's keep it with the NFL. Give me a couple of thoughts on some NFL win totals. You know, about a week ago, we did those 2 college win totals you liked. And I know you had the Toledo, I believe, over 8.5, which I really liked, the way you broke that one down with how many games are going to be favored by. Oklahoma over 11 was the other one. You think they'll run the table there, go 12-0. NFL's a little trickier with the win totals because, of course, college football, like Oklahoma, there's like only 2 or 3 games they might lose. You know, they're going to be huge favorites otherwise. The NFL, win or lose any given Sunday. How do you approach NFL win totals? What's something you're looking at?
Well, number one, I think the biggest mistake novices make when betting win totals is they just look at a team and write down win and win and win. And more often than not, when you have those pick 'em games or the games between a field goal, they write down wins on both sides. It's very important when you're breaking down win totals to take the schedule and actually write down wins and losses for each team. Therefore, if a team's going to win, the opponent they're playing can't have a W next to them when you're breaking down that team's win totals. So I'm going to give you 2 correlated win totals today. One is the Baltimore Ravens over the total, and one is the Cincinnati Bengals under the total. So obviously we have a situation there, Baltimore at 10.5, Cincinnati at 6.5. You know you're playing in a division with a very improved Cleveland Browns. You know we're playing in a division with the Steelers who, you know, have been playoff mainstays. But in my NFL guide, I put down my power rating numbers for the Baltimore Ravens for the season, and I have the Ravens a pick in 1 game and a favorite in 15 games. They host Kansas City week 2 at home on Sunday night. That's the only game I have them at pick. Plus, let's remember, 17 games in the NFL this year. They play 9 home games, 8 on the road. And it's very important when you're taking it over and you're over 10.5 that you have winnable road games. At Vegas, I have them a 5-point favorite. At Detroit, a 9.5-point favorite. At Denver, a 5-point favorite. At Miami, a team that is up and down. At Chicago, a non-playoff team. And then their 3 division foes. So when you have a quality team that has had double-digit wins the last 3 years, 25 wins the last 2 years, was a top 6 team each of the last 3 years in yards per play diff, to me, it's a no-brainer. Likewise, Cincinnati under, just the opposite. The Browns are improved. The Bengals will still get the Steelers will still give them a run. The Ravens are going to be a significant favorite in both teams. There was a lot of excitement about Burrow, but let's remember, when DCs have a second year to prep for a new quarterback, it's quite a different scheme. Cincinnati, 1-15-1 in games decided by 7 points or less. They haven't won those close games. So 2 over-unders in the NFL, both correlated because they're in the same division. The Baltimore Ravens under and the Baltimore Ravens over and the Cincinnati Bengals under.
You know what, Ralph? I love how you're doing the same division that's correlated, because the one thing about the NFL with the 8 divisions now, they have to play, 40% of their schedule, those 6 games, although we do have 17 games now, but it's still 6 of the 17 games are against the same teams that are beating each other or vice versa. You know what? The Prez is back next week with Teddy Covers. I know we had some college football we're going to get to, but I can't do it. I got to save it for them. They're going to get mad at me if we take all the football away from them. So how about you come on next week? We do some week 1 college football and then a little bit more of the preseason stuff that we talked about, because I want people to chew on the NFL futures there. And we're going to transition with Jeff Benson later about some NFL contests. We'll keep it NFL today. We'll get you back on next week for a little college football actionable info. Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Once again, Ralph, tell them about the free lines report that's up at WagerTalk right now.
Again, just a simple way. It's important to know, guys, Vegas lines makers are experts. Steve, just like you, Rob, just like you, I'll put myself in that. So when there's a line posted in the summer, it's based on talent. It's very important to know how much lines move from the time they're posted to game time, because you get hot teams, you get cold teams, people overreact to injuries. So NFL Hall of Fame, NFL preseason week 1, college football week 0, college football week 1, NFL week 1, all on one easy-to-download PDF, wagertalk.buzz/RM.
Ralph Michaels, the human database. You like walking database or human database? We'll commingle them. All right, thank
Thanks,
you, Ralph.
guys.
We'll have
Appreciate
you
it.
back next week for more football each and every week as we get closer to the season. All right, that's a little NFL futures talk with Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. We're going to get back to the NBA draft now. NBA draft was last night on Thursday, and these teams have made moves, and it's going to affect the future odds. But we want to bring in an NBA expert, Rick Kamla, to talk more about the NBA and the NBA draft in general. And Rick, welcome to the show. Great to see you, my man. You're with myself and Rob Veno today. And let me just ask you out of the gate, what was your takeaway of the draft last night? Who do you think the big winners and losers were? What stood out to you the most?
What's up, fellas? Great to be on with you. And off the top of my head, I mean, the Lakers are the biggest winners here, and it's draft related, but it's not, Cade Cunningham or Jalen Suggs or Jalen Green or these guys. I mean, they now have a big three that they can go up against the Brooklyn Nets with, and I think a lot of us speculated and we're optimistic that the Lakers were going to be able to net a big three somehow, some way, get DeMar DeRozan, get Chris Paul, get Kyle Lowry. And we now know who that guy is. It's Russell Westbrook. And somebody is trying to get a hold of me right now. And this is, geez, Louise. I got a show coming up here in just a little bit, guys. So my producers are trying, they're hollering at me and the whole thing. But the fact that the Lakers, like this early in the process, have Russell Westbrook. And it's interesting because they have 4 players under contract. 4, the big 3, and Marc Gasol. They also have Talen Horton-Tucker, who's going to be a restricted free agent, and I presume they're going to try to keep him. They may not. And they're going to have to get the Dwight Howards, the Carmelo Anthonys, the Trevor Arizas, like the mercenary type of role players who are willing to take a veteran minimum type of deal for the sake of, winning a ring. And I think they're going to be very successful in that. And Rob Pelinka's job, the shot caller for the Lakers, is just starting. The Lakers stand out as winners. The Houston Rockets stand out as winners. I love what they did. Jalen Green, you get Şengün, and then you got a couple of good players in the 20s. Charlotte stands out as a winner. Golden State to me, and I don't want to bite off too much of this chicken bone here, but Golden State to me, big time losers last night. The fact that Bradley Beal made the decision to stay in Washington, whereas a lot of us thought that he was ready to hit the escape hatch out of there. Golden State had to use their 2 picks, 7 and 14, and they did not want to do that. They wanted to flip those picks into a star to get them closer to winning another gold ball.
Yeah, Rick, first of all, welcome to the show. Let me ask you real quick. Teams that had cluster picks last night, right? The Pistons, the Rockets, the Thunder especially, though. Sam Presti's just hoarding picks for years and years to come. In fact, I think he acquired another first-rounder last night. Fill us in on, you already said you like what the Rockets did, but those 3 teams had made cluster picks, and especially where Oklahoma City is concerned, the selection of Josh Giddey at number 6, who I have seen some folks describe as a walking triple-double at the point guard position. In Oklahoma City, in my estimation, has nothing but time to develop, guys. Fill us in on how you think Oklahoma City did, and of those 3 teams, which you think came away with the best haul last night.
I'll just focus on Oklahoma City here. I mocked Josh Giddey to Oklahoma City at number 6, and a lot of people had Book Knight to Oklahoma City at number 6. Book Knight is not a needle mover. Book Knight is a bucket getter. Should be a fine NBA player for a long time. Josh Giddey, I don't see star in Book Knight, though. I see potential star in Josh Giddey. He's 6'8", he's 205, he's 18 years old. He averaged, off the top of my head, so many numbers in my brain, 14, 7, and 7 with his team Adelaide in the NBL. And he is a wizard with the basketball. He's not LaMelo Ball-esque, okay? I want to make that clear. LaMelo Ball is one of the greatest passers I have ever seen in my life, up there with the Magics and the Pauls and the Isaiahs and all of those guys. He's that good at passing the basketball. Josh Giddey is a notch down from that, but Josh Giddey right now is one of the best passers in the NBA, and he hasn't even played a game in the NBA. The shot is under construction, clearly. Defense is going to be an issue for him, but it's OKC. He's 18. They got time. He's got the tools, and they have the ability to develop. So I love that pick for Oklahoma City. It was a total buzzkill for Golden State. I think they would have taken him at number 7. It was a total buzzkill for Memphis at number 10. I think they wanted Josh Giddey at number. By the way, Memphis didn't get any of their guys that they traded up in that trade with the Pelicans for Valanciunas. They did not get any of the guys that they wanted. And then they take Zaire Williams. Everybody, me on my couch, the guys calling the draft on ESPN were like, huh? What? Where did this one come from? So I'm giddy about Josh Giddey. What can I say?
And Rick, we could talk to you for hours. I know you've got a show coming up. If people want hours of NBA draft talk, they can get it, right? 1 to 4 Eastern today on SiriusXM. It's channels 207, I believe, Sirius, and channel 86, I believe, XM, if I'm not mistaken. And I know you're going to have some great information. But before we let you run, my man, appreciate you jumping on today on a busy day. Give me some actionable info for just some futures in the NBA here. Maybe a play-on team in the East and the West. If you want to give me a pick to win it, that's fine. But if you maybe a sleeper pick, somebody you think is going to have some value next year. You talked to some of those teams like the Rockets, the Hornets, I believe. You thought they did well. Will that transfer right away to the 2022 season? Give me a couple sleepers on your way out.
I don't think it'll translate right away. I really don't. I mean, we can sit here right now and evaluate players and like the drafting and say that there's bargains and stuff. The teams at the bottom of the standings at the top of the draft, they have a long, long way to go. And so, to me, the Miami Heat are a team not to be slept on. And I'm not sure what their win total is for next year, but they're going to make moves. They're going to get better. And I think a lot of people that they've kind of drifted off the radar for a lot of people. In the West, I think the Pelicans have a lot of upward mobility here. You get Valanciunas. I thought they destroyed Memphis in that trade. You've got Zion, you've got Ingram, you've got a lot of nice players, the Kyra Lewis's, the NAWs, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And I think there's another big move coming, whether they go get Conley, whether they go get Kyle Lowry, they go get Spencer Dinwiddie. I think they're going to bring in a veteran point guard that is going to help them finish games, which was the biggest problem for them last year. Stan Van Gundy is at home with his wife right now because he could not coach up the young Pelicans at the end of games and get them to cross the finish line as the victors. Willie Green presumably is going to do a better job of that. But what they need is a point guard, a floor general, to finalize and win games. And so there's all of this thrust to satisfy Zion Williamson, keep him in New Orleans for a long time. So there are moves coming for the Pelicans beyond what we saw last night, beyond what we saw with that trade. So the Pelicans, to me, are a team that I would definitely look at the over on their win total. Memphis, to me, is a team that I would maybe look at the under because I really think that the sail of their ship took a cannonball. Jonas Valanciunas was a lot of times their go-to guy, even more than Ja Morant, and you trade him off. And now you get Bledsoe, who's probably not a part of their plan. Steven Adams comes in probably as the backup with Jaren Jackson Jr. moving to the starting center position. But and I didn't like what Memphis did in the draft last night. So I could see Memphis falling down. I could see New Orleans going up. So a couple of sleepers for you there, Steve.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the Miami Heat's really interesting to me because this is the team that was, of course, in the championship game 2 years ago, and they're sitting at 35-1 right now. They're tied, Rick, with your Atlanta Hawks at 35-1 the NBA title next year. And we did a lot of shows here on WagerTalk TV last year, preseason shows, and a lot of us had Atlanta as our sleeper team, and they're in the mid-30s for over-under last year. So when those season win totals come out, it'll be interesting. Some teams to keep an eye on. Rick, thank you. We'll let you run. Once again, 1 to 4 Eastern today, Monday through Friday, SiriusXM NBA. Where else can they find you, my man? What you got going on?
Mad Dog Sports Radio tomorrow afternoon, 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern time during the football season. I'll be doing some work over at Fantasy Sports Radio. And I am available for you guys whenever you want me. When those NBA win totals come out, certainly reach back and we can run through them here.
That is awesome. We're going to take you up on that, and we will talk to you soon. Rick Kamla, once again, 1 to 4 Eastern today, SiriusXM NBA Talk, 107 on Sirius and channel 86 on XM. I have a feeling you're going to have some good content today on Friday, even though it might be the off season for the NBA.
The problem is all the stuff that's going to be left on the cutting room floor. That's the problem. We got 10 pounds for a 3-pound bag, but we'll figure out a way to work it out.
You got a couple weeks after this, maybe a little Olympic basketball talk, but you probably have some filler the next couple of weeks in the off season, so you'll definitely make it work. Hey, Rick, great seeing you. We'll catch up soon. We're going to have you back, my man. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Hey, great content, man. We got the NBA draft, and who says it's the offseason for the NBA basketball, right? I mean, there's a lot going on right now, and Rick is as knowledgeable as they come, as you saw when it comes to the NBA. We're going to definitely tap into that source, Rob, more this fall with the NBA approaching once again. It's the shortest offseason in history, except for last year, maybe. That might have been a shorter offseason. And we got the Olympics, by the way, still in full swing. The men's team are still in it as of now. Hey, Rob, we got another great guest coming up, Jeff Benson, Sportsbook Operation Manager for the Circa in Las Vegas. Right after this quick 20-second break, we're going to come back. We're going to interview Jeff about the $10 million combined and how our listeners and viewers can be part of that. We're going to have information on that here right after the break.
The NFL 2021 season kicks off on Thursday, August 5th. And while some say I won't bet the preseason, but many NFL handicapping experts say there's more value betting the preseason than any other sport. This is one of the only times in sports betting that you can have a team and a coach trying to win versus a team and a coach that doesn't care. The NFL preseason is $249. You can save $70 by purchasing this package by kickoff of the Hall of Fame game August 5th. The entire NFL preseason for just $179. Yes, football is back.
Very excited about our next guest here on Wager Talk today as we bring in Jeff Benson, Sports Operations Manager at the Circa Sportsbook in Las Vegas. Probably the two best football contests you're going to find all season anywhere in this country. Jeff, welcome to the show. Great to have you. And I want to dive back in. You know, a lot of books maybe have one contest. That wasn't good enough for you guys. You said, hell no, we won two contests at the Circa. Now, the pick five, we'll get to that in a moment. That's kind of basic. We've seen that done before. We pick 5 NFL teams every week for each week of the season. But the one that I'm really excited about, my favorite type of contest overall in all sports, are eliminator contests. And you all have a Survivor and Eliminator NFL contest, and you have some cool twists on it. So let me lead off with that one. Tell us about it, and then we'll get into that 20-0 bonus. I know there's only 18 NFL games, but you all came up with a creative way to do a 20-0 bonus. So, Jeff, welcome to the show. Start off with that Eliminator contest. Let me know a little bit more about it.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you having me on. Obviously for us, we have the Circa Million 3 in addition to the Circa Survivor contest. Myself, I'm very passionate about Survivor, as is our CEO and owner, Derek Stevens. So that's kind of, our baby, our contest. We have the world's largest legal Survivor contest. We're certainly proud of that. Obviously, last year was the first year that we offered it. We guaranteed $1 million. We had 1,390 entries. And when all was said and done, we had 35 individuals who each went 18-0. So as we come back to it this year, Derek has certainly kind of ponied up the money, and we're going from a $1 million guarantee to a $6 million guarantee. As you mentioned, it's $1,000 to enter. You can have a maximum of 6 entries. And essentially what you're doing, for those people who aren't as familiar with Eliminator or Survivor contests, is that you're picking a different NFL winner straight up each week. If you lose or tie for that week, your entry would be eliminated. So for argument's sake, let's just say you take the Patriots in week 1, they win, your selection would move on to obviously week 2. But then the catch would be that you can't use the Patriots again. So certainly kind of a lot of game theory and strategy goes into these contests. They're very nuanced, and they, maybe it's a little bit more, thinking as opposed to just the 5 games against the spread every week. So, I love Survivor contests. We're super excited about it. And obviously you mentioned the 20-0 component. A couple of the different wrinkles when you look at our contest. The first thing that I would say is it's $6 million guaranteed to the winner. When I was looking earlier today, we had 512 entries, meaning that we had a little over $5,488,000 overlay. So presuming we don't get any more signups, Circa Sports would be putting any amount of the overlay back into the prize pool. And the prize pool is no rake, which means that everything or all of the entry fees that go into the prize pool will essentially go back to the players, which is certainly, from a player perspective, very plus EV.
Yeah, I love it.
You know,
That's something I was going to say, Jeff. It's like, first of all, you're not making money off of this. In fact, you guys are in a situation right now, if you don't get enough signups, you actually would lose money on it. So I don't think people realize that it's not, you guys are doing this to make money. You're giving it all back. And if you go over the sign up numbers you're expecting, you're actually going to give you more prizes back in the pools on this one and on the pick 5 each week in the regular million contest.
Yeah, that's correct. Like I said, this is a labor of love for us. Obviously, we strongly believe in the no rake component. Not only is this something that, we would fund the prize pool if we don't get to that guarantee, but obviously just the amount of work and labor and things that go into it. Yeah, it's definitely a loss leader for us, but it allows people to come down, see the Golden Gate Circa, the world's largest 3-story sports book, stadium swim, things like that, and all of the attractions we have down here. So, for us, we really want to get people down here, seeing Circa Sports, seeing everything that we have to offer in the resort and casino. And obviously, offering the 2 best football contests in the world certainly helps to do that. So, as you mentioned earlier, it's 20 weeks. The average, NFL fan would ask, how you get to that number. So, obviously, last year was 17 weeks plus a bye, week, or 16 weeks plus a bye week. This year it'll be 17 weeks plus a bye week, which is 18 games. And then you add in Thanksgiving Day and Christmas week. So our wrinkle is obviously on Thanksgiving Day, you'd have to pick one of those 3 teams, one of the 6 teams that are playing for those 3 games. And then obviously on Christmas week, you'd have the ability to pick from the Thursday game, or the 2 games that are playing on Saturday, which is Christmas Day. So once you add in Christmas week and Thanksgiving Day, that bumps the total amount of games that you got to select to be perfect in the contest, up to 20 selections. And Derek has so kindly contributed an extra $1 million to the bonus pool, in which if a contestant does go 20-0, and they ultimately end up selecting one of the 2 Super Bowl teams from last year, being the Chiefs or the Buccaneers, in the last week of the regular season, and they win, they would be entitled to that $1 million extra bonus, which we thought was a really cool wrinkle.
Quickly, in a minute or two, just let me know about the other million contest. It's the 3rd year you're doing that, I believe. It's a pick 5 each week. What I love about this one, though, Jeff, is that it's top heavy, obviously, with the payout, but you also pay out a lot of other people. And I love the 4-week payouts that you have as well, in case you have a hot month or so and you don't win the overall contest, you still make some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when we opened here in 2019, Circa Million was the first contest that we offered. It's $1,000 to enter, maximum of 3 entries. And essentially what you're doing is picking 5 games against the spread every week. As you mentioned, it is a little bit more top heavy. But what we've done this year is really, listen to our players and kind of hear what their feedback is. And so we've really flattened that pay scale and, paid a little bit deeper. And those are things that have been well received when we released the rules. So it's $1 million to first place, $1.9 million in cash prizes for entries 2 through 50. We pay $250,000 every quarter in what we do our quarterly prizes. So money would be paid out to first place, second place, and third place. And then this year we've also added a quarterly booby prize, which would be $25,000 for the last place in each quarter. We have a full season-long booby prize, which pays out $100,000, and similar to what we do in Circa Survivor. Obviously, Circa Million is also a no-rake contest. So currently, we're going to guarantee $4 million in the Circa Million. When you look at the 2 contests, $4 million in Circa Million, $6 million in Circa Survivor. Derek has gone on record. We're guaranteeing $10 million. And then ultimately, he's also going to add in the extra $1 million out of his own pocket for the bonus prize pool. So $10+ million in guarantees here for our 2 contests. Both contests are no rake. You don't have to be in Las Vegas to play them. You would just have to come down once to the Golden Gate Circa, or our 2 satellite properties, which would be the Pass and the Tuscany. Sign up in person. You can register with a proxy who can then make your picks for you here in the state of Nevada, while you go back to any of your other states that you're living in given that you don't have to live here to play in the contest.
Jeff, thanks once again. Once again, you can find him. CircaSports.com is a great place to look if you're interested in the contest. CircaSports.com for more information. And Jeff, I'm going to check into you week by week here during the season. We're going to find out how the contests are going, and maybe we'll put a little update here on the show to let the viewers know the leaderboards and whatnot. But once again, Jeffrey Benson, Sportsbook's operation manager at the Circa in Las Vegas. Jeff, thanks for joining us, and best of luck this football season.
Thanks for having me on, Steve. Hopefully we can chip away at some of that overlay.
Yeah, once again, Rob, it's great talking here to Jeff just now. And something I want to mention before we wrap this show up is, he mentioned you do have to be in person, of course, to sign up for this contest in Las Vegas. However, you do not have to be there after you sign up. You can be in another state, anywhere in the world for that matter, for the rest of the year if you use a proxy service. And I really like this contest. We have no connection to the Cirque. I brought them on because I thought it's some information that our users might want to see, because I think it's the best football contest out there for numerous reasons, not only because it's a survivor, which it's hard to find, the pick five we've seen done before, but because there's no rake. In fact, there's an overlay. So right now you actually have an overlay, which is what you look for in horse racing and other things, where the payout is better than the odds to win, which is insane. So it's some actionable info, even though you got to sign up in person. But keep in mind, you can use a proxy service. Real quick on the way out, I wanted to give my recommended proxy service, the one I think is the best to use personally. And all you got to do is you go and register in person in Las Vegas for the contest. And at the same time, you sign up with the proxy service. And then all 20 weeks of the season, you don't have to be there anymore, basically, to send it in. You can just send it, from any state you live in by Saturday each week. So once again, the proxy service is Winners Circle Proxy. And we have a special for the WagerTalk users. If you mention that you're from WagerTalk, you get the discount on both ends here. You get for either contest, either or, do them both, obviously, and save even more. But once again, winnerscircleproxy.com, $50 off any tier for the millions and $20 off any survivor entry. And you can do up to 6 survivor entries. A lot of people play multiples because that way it gives you a little wiggle room, because once you miss one, you're out. Once again, $50 off the tier for the millions, which is you pick 5 NFL games every week, $20 off the survivor entry. Once again, that's winnerscircleproxy.com. Winners with an S, circleproxy.com. Mention that you're from WagerTalk, that you saw us here on WagerTalk today, and you get the special discount. Once again, you got to sign up in person, but after that, you can be anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, put your picks in each week. Hey, Rob, it was great co-hosting with you once again, my man. Hopefully we get to do this again soon. I know you and I are going to be stepping in time to time when Prez or Teddy are gone, and we'll be doing our weekly episodes here as well. What else you work on? You got a lot of college football around the corner. I know you've been doing some conference previews on WagerTalk TV with Drew Martin. Those are archived. Everything we do, folks, is archived on WagerTalk TV on YouTube. Just click on the videos tab, scroll down. You'll occasionally see my lovely face and Rob Veno's lovely face. You'll know that's the video you want to click on. Rob, on the way out, what else you got going on? Of course, 12 to 2 Eastern, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Saturday, SiriusXM channel 204. You, me, and Joe Ranieri. What else you got going on at WagerTalk this weekend, Rob?
Yeah, well, later this afternoon, Steve, once we're done here, Drew and I will be doing our next college football preview. We're going to dive into the Big 12 this afternoon, so that will be up and available pretty quickly for folks to go ahead and see what we think of the Big 12. These are kind of quick hit previews, segmented into 4 different, like paragraph style almost. But you can get some real good information from us. We've already done 3 conferences. We'll do this one. I'll also be on our new baseball show, the Quick Hitter First 5, where we release first 5 inning best bets, individual handicappers. I'll be doing one of those this afternoon as well. So for those who want to get a recommendation on the first 5 play, again, all this at WagerTalk TV on YouTube for free if you're a member. If you're not, it's silly not to be. It doesn't cost you anything. Just go register, sign up, and get all the free content that we provide. So, and then after that, Steve, I'll probably see you later on with our pal John Ryan between 4 and 5, where we'll discuss more games and discuss more happenings. There'll probably be a lot more happening in Major League Baseball by the time we get to John this afternoon. So the afternoon's packed, as it always is. Football is underway, just about, as you mentioned. Training camps are in full force. We're all scrambling for info on these preseason games. So, yeah, it's a loaded time of year. Great to be here this week, the 2 times that I was. Thanks to Prez and Teddy for trusting us to fill in for them. But, again, the audience may be ready for a little more of the, confrontational style of Prez and Teddy starting next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a shock to the system when they come out of the gate because Teddy's got 3 weeks of vacation. And most people get hyped up before vacation. I have a feeling Teddy gets more hyped up on vacation to get back to work. He's going to be raring to go. And then Prez will probably be his normal self, which is always great as well. So, yeah, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on WagerTalk TV, WagerTalk Today. As Rob said, subscribe to WagerTalk TV. The way we keep this great content free and plentiful and increasing is with subscriptions to WagerTalk TV. Just hit the subscribe button. You get notified when new content comes out, including those first 5 videos, free plays for first 5 inning games tonight, other free plays like my Just a Bit Outside videos here on WagerTalk TV. And also don't forget the thumbs up, the likes. It takes a half a second to click a thumbs up. In fact, time yourself. See how fast you can do it. That helps us as well. And comment below, the comment section. We love your comments. I read each and every one of them. We have the smartest betting viewers on all of YouTube here on WagerTalk TV. Hey, thanks to Rob Veno once again for filling in for Teddy. I'm Steve Merrill filling in for the Prez. They'll be back on Monday. Thanks to Ralph Michaels. Thanks to Rick Kamla. And thanks to Jeff Benson. And thank you for watching, subscribing, and liking and commenting below. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again soon here on WagerTalk TV.
What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.